Hello everyone and welcome to WASD20. My name is Nate and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a very simple banner for a map. I'll be showing off about 5 or 6 different banner styles you could use, ranging from very simple to a little more complicated. You can see that the ones I used in my recent maps are very simple and they almost just look like a scrap of parchment or something like that, and a scrap of paper. I'll still be calling them banners, but these could be, mimicking cloth, mimicking paper, or who knows what else, stretched leather, I don't know. There's all sorts of things you could do here. But for me, it was a way to label my continents. Many people use them to label the entire map, or they might use it for a key for their map, have like a piece of parchment or a banner that has certain information about the world even. There are all sorts of uses. So in the case of my maps, I was struggling with a way to label continents because I had made the rest of the continent so crowded with mountains and lakes and labels of other places, cities and forests and all this stuff. And I needed a simple way to still have it kind of small and not take up tons of room, but to label a continent. And this is the way I decided on because it still keeps it fairly small and yet it sets it apart as a point of emphasis, something that's raised above the other text because it's on this banner or this parchment. So let's get into it and I'll show you some very simple ways to do this. The first banner that I'm going to be doing here is a very traditional one. You see these kinds of banners all over the place. So I'm going to be drawing a curved line for the top, and sorry my pencil's pretty light here. Drop in the sides and then do a curved line on the bottom. Then you can see me doing the sides here. And the sides are going to be the style of a sort of a triangular cutout, I guess, to kind of coming into 2 points. When I do the ink work here, I'm curving the sides a bit, just to kind of give it a little more detailed look, maybe a little more realistic. And then I'm also going to be putting some little, I guess, chunks that have been taken out of this, and as if it's, worn paper or cloth, just to give it a little bit more of a worn look. And it's up to you, depending on how worn you want to make it look. Then I do the sides here, and these little lines here are kind of important, just to give it that dimension to make it look like it's popping out. Now I'm going to be doing the lettering, and I'll just label this with the name of my homebrew world, Inshar. I'm drawing a guide here, a curved guide. I did end up buying a lettering guide on Amazon, a lettering aid, but that won't work so well with this curved banner. So first I'm going to pencil in the letters, Inshar, and then I'm going to do the ink. And as I'm doing this here, I first go and just lay in the general shape. Then I add serifs, which is what I'm doing here. And then I make the letters a little thicker in certain places, just to give it a better look. Remember to check out my lettering video, which you can view to get more details on how I do my lettering. For this I'm just using a Papermate Flair pen. This is not a drawing pen, but now I'm going to get a little more detailed, so I'm going to use my Pigma Micron pens here, which I use for quite a bit. So I'm going to be going in and giving a little detail, and I guess doing some shading and giving it a little bit more of a worn look, just by adding some small lines on the edges, like this. And this is something that's totally optional, but it can help just give the parchment or banner a little more of a detailed look. Okay, so I can add a little bit of detail on the end there, and then I also like to maybe just add a little bit of scuff marks or something here and there. Just give it a little more, again, that worn feel. And yeah, maybe we can even add a little bit of lines here and there. So, something like that. Looks pretty nice, and then it's a good idea to shade these. You don't have to do this, you can just go straight up no shading, no detail, and it still can really improve the look of your text and set it apart nicely. But we're looking to add a little more detail. And maybe some there. Okay, so there you have a very simple banner. Now over the next several minutes I'm going to be showing you a few other styles, and ways of doing banners, some of which are very simple, some of which get pretty intricate. But this one is actually just a very simple piece of parchment style that I used on the map of Valos and of Aeronoth. You just kind of draw a straight banner and then make it curve at one end, draw a little line up there, and yeah, there you have it. You can shade that a little bit, and you can add a little more detail and some of those scuff marks and other things here and there if you want to. This next one is a little more detailed style than the original banner. Just a little more tattered on the edges is what I was doing here, and a few more folds just to give it a little more decorative look maybe. Maybe it got a little out of control, but sometimes they do if you look around. There are lots of different very intricate winding and many layered patterns of banners. This one I just decided to do kind of one extra layer and then make the edges a little more tattered at the ends. Try to go for that look. And of course these little lines are very important to give it that three-dimensional feel. And then adding some of that detailed once again. For the next one here, I busted out the ruler because I wanted to make a flagpole and actually try a sort of a flag. So this might feel a little bit out of place on a map, but I think sometimes I've seen some pretty good ones on maps, and you can kind of put it off to the side, and you can put the title of the map on there. There are all sorts of things you can do, or it could just be a little bit of decoration for the map. Maybe you could put an emblem on it, or yeah, there's all sorts of things you can do. So I draw the flagpole, and then I'm just making a couple layers. And I'm not super satisfied with the way this came out. This is the first time I've done one of these actually. But you can get the idea, and if I were going to put it on a map, I'd probably refine it a little bit and practice a little more. One nice thing is that you can also use these on a castle. I usually draw my castles so small or other kind of town icons that I don't usually do these. But it is totally possible for you to put a similar little flag on the top of a castle like I did here. For my next trick, I decided I was going to make a banner wrapped around a sword. Now you could do this just for looks again, kind of like the flag, or you could actually, the way that I end up doing it here, you could actually fit some writing on the banner as well. But yeah, sketching in the banner here. I cut quite a bit of the footage here because my big fat head kept getting in the way of the webcam. But yeah, you can still see me doing most of the sketching here, doing the sword and the banner, and now I'm going to start laying down the ink. The banner style I went for here was a pretty tattered and worn style, maybe a battle-worn banner. So there you have the banner wrapped around the sword. Now the last thing I'm going to leave you with here is a scroll that has been unwrapped. And this is just a curved, a wide curved banner, except I'm doing it up and down or vertical instead of horizontal. You can see the rolled end there. And then this side I'm actually going to make roll outwards, which I haven't really done on any of the other banners. But of course you could do that on any of the other banner styles as well, rather than having them tucked behind. So I'm, again, kind of giving it a worn look here and there. But this is a good style if you are wanting to maybe have a little bit of history about your world, or a little description. You could write it on this piece of parchment on the side of your map, or you could make a key on a bigger piece of parchment like this. As I finish up this scroll here, I think that's about where I'm going to leave you today. Hopefully you found this video useful, and banners are something that you can use to possibly enhance the text on your maps. And I encourage you to go out and check out other people's maps. People are using these in lots of interesting, creative ways, or even do a Google image search, and you'll find all kinds of banner ideas. And yeah, so anyway, take care, everybody. Hope you found this useful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed for more great content, and I look forward to talking to you all again very soon.